My daughter came home with a husband she'd known for 6 months. I had coffee on the deck of my Santa Barbara beachfront house when Claire pulled into the driveway with a man in the passenger seat who looked like he'd been gift-wrapped specifically to charm money out of older women. His name was Garrett Mercer, and within 2 hours I understood that he'd married my daughter not for love, but for access to me. Let me back up. I'm Vivian. I'm 54 years old. I've been divorced since I was 38. I bought this house with my own money, renovated it with my own hands, and I have lived in it exactly the way I wanted to for the last 15 years. No apologies, no compromises. Just me, my coffee, and a view that costs more than most people's retirement accounts. So when Claire arrived that morning, unannounced mind you, with Garrett in tow, I should have known something was off. My daughter doesn't show up without a reason. She sends texts, she plans, she's organized. But that day she had this look on her face, the look you get when you're proud of something you've done, but also a little bit afraid of what people will think about it. Garrett shook my hand with exactly the right amount of firmness, not too aggressive, not too soft, professional. He called himself a real estate portfolio strategist. He had a suit that probably cost more than my first car, and he smiled like he'd been practicing that smile in the mirror his entire adult life. Claire's told me so much about this property, he said. Absolutely stunning. I nodded and offered coffee. That's what you do. You're polite, you're gracious, you're the mother. Garrett accepted immediately, like he'd been waiting for the question. Claire followed me into the kitchen. The moment the door swung shut, she grabbed my arm. Mom, I have something to tell you. I already knew what was coming. I could feel it the way you feel a storm before it hits. Garrett and I got married 3 weeks ago in Las Vegas. I set my coffee mug down very slowly, very deliberately. Claire, Mom, I love him. He's different. He gets me. He has a vision for the future. I don't remember exactly what I said next. Something diplomatic, something that wouldn't make her defensive. Because I'd learned a long time ago that you can't yell someone out of love. You can only watch them learn their own lessons. Breakfast became an issue immediately. Garrett, Claire announced, was an early riser who liked everything perfect. Could I make him eggs Benedict at 5:30 in the morning? He had very specific requirements about the hollandaise. I said yes. I made eggs Benedict. I should have known then. I should have seen the way he managed Claire. Small comments disguised as compliments. You're so good at this domestic stuff, Mom. It's really one of your strengths. Translated, you should be doing this more. You should be home. You should be managing the household. The unspoken part was, you should hand your house over to me and disappear. That night I researched him. Google, public records, Facebook. Garrett Mercer gave me 4 dissolved LLCs, a property in foreclosure in San Diego, and a link to a local news article from 4 years ago about a woman named Jennifer Walsh. The article was about her restaurant. It had closed. Bankruptcy. I dug deeper. Jennifer Walsh had been married to Garrett Mercer. According to the dissolution paperwork, he'd moved $130,000 from her business account to accounts in his name. The case settled out of court. Jennifer moved back with her parents. There were other articles. Elderly homeowners approached by Mercer Properties, pressure to sell, suspiciously low valuations, deals that fell through when the homeowner's children got involved. A pattern, a very clear pattern. The next morning I made his hollandaise with natural laxative powder mixed into the butter. Just enough to do the job, not enough to taste like anything but butter and egg yolks. Garrett had 7 emergency bathroom trips that day. By the 3rd one, he'd stopped pretending it was random. By the 7th, he looked like he'd been hit by a truck. While he was occupied, I called information and found Eleanor Patterson in Riverside. She picked up on the second ring. "Is this about Garrett?" she asked before I'd even finished introducing myself. Turns out Eleanor had been targeted the same way, through her daughter, a new marriage, sudden pressure to sell her house. She'd hired a forensic accountant to investigate, Harold Manning. He had a file on Garrett Mercer that was thicker than a phone book, and Eleanor was willing to put all of it on paper. The next afternoon, Garrett tried again. Sitting in my living room, looking like death warmed over, he launched into his pitch about how the market was perfect right now, how my house was an asset I didn't need, how I was too old to live alone in such a big house. 54, apparently, is ancient. I didn't argue with him. I didn't yell. I stood up very calmly and dropped a folder on the coffee table in front of him. Jennifer Walsh, Eleanor Patterson, the full forensic report filed with the Attorney General, 4 dissolved companies, 12 victims across 4 states, fraud, embezzlement, elder abuse. "Get out of my house," I said, "and don't come back." He left an hour later. Claire was crying. "Mom, is Garrett a criminal?" "He's a con artist who married you to get access to me and my house. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but yes, he is." She didn't believe me at first, but when the Federal Bureau of Investigation showed up with a warrant 2 weeks later, she started to understand. Garrett was arrested trying to cross into Mexico with $42,000 in cash and a fake passport. Federal charges: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy, elder abuse. The pattern went back further than anyone thought. 13 victims, not 12, spanning 6 years. Claire filed for divorce. The marriage was annulled 6 months later on grounds of fraud. She moved back in with me for a while. We didn't talk about Garrett much. What was there to say? I'm back on my deck now. It's morning. There's coffee. There's ocean. There's nobody here trying to take anything from me because they decided I was vulnerable. Nobody trying to convince my daughter that I'm too old, too alone, too much of a burden. 54 years old. Too old for my own house. I laugh every time I think about it. My house, my coffee, my ocean, my rules. Nobody takes that from me. Nobody ever will.